2. All right. All right. For this one, I want to thank Ruble Zaman again. He's always dropping some good stuff on the on his platform, and so I like Ruble. And so anyway, he broke it down really well. But I want to also put my spin on this one here. So without further ado, man, this is a brother. The title of this video is Kevin Samuels versus Single Mothers. All right. All right. Let's see how Kevin is doing it again by lighting the whole world on fire. Let's see where he's messing up again.
What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for joining me again. Today's video is about single mothers, and I want to jump right into it. So recently, Kevin Samuels, and amongst some other men, but mainly Kevin Samuels, has had a lot to say about single mothers, and a lot of it has been very negative. I've spoken to some women personally.
What has he said that's negative? That's never defined, right? That is never defined. That is never defined, but okay. We're gonna just take him at his word right now. Kevin's out there saying whatever that means. He's saying negative stuff about a black woman a lot of times, telling her that she's came outside with dressed to not dressed for being out in the public. That's considered negative to a lot of black women. So we don't know exactly. This hasn't been defined, right? If you tell a black woman, hey, that skirt is too high, your breasts are showing too much, to them, that's negative. You talking negative to them. So we don't know. We don't know exactly what it is. So anyway, maybe later on he'll define it.
Who have actually been affected by this, and it really gave me the inspiration to make this video. You see, I'm someone who comes from a single mother. Over the weekend, my mother had food poisoning, and I spent a good deal of time taking care of her.
We sorry to hear that, brother. Definitely nobody wants your mother to have that situation going on.
And it really got me to thinking how special single mothers are. Are there some bad parents out there, women and men? Yes. But there are a lot of great single mothers out there.
Hey, you hear me? You hear my videos. I'm always making the exception for that some single mothers they are worth taking a second look at. However, most single mothers are a bad deal for most men, especially if they're not in their 40s. They don't even know how to have monogamous relationships, and then you're throwing them in there to be they don't even know how to be biological fathers, and then you throw them in there to be stepfathers. I mean, that is irresponsible to me. That's like somebody can't even drive they can't even drive a Honda Accord, and you just throw them into a 18-wheeler. Throw them in it. Gone. Yeah, we're in LA. Gone. We'll meet you in Florida. No. You think that person really gonna get to Florida? Come on, man. Come on. But that's the point. It's not that single mothers are bad people. Sometimes they are bad people in every category, but that's not the issue. The issue is most young guys, it's not a good deal for them to hook up with single moms. They don't have the life experience, the patience, and the temperament to deal with not only their own children. A lot of these guys don't even know how to deal with their own children, let alone a whole nother man's children. And it's biologically off kilter. You biologically have a desire for your own offspring. Biologically, that's biological. But people make you feel bad because you have a biological desire to have your own offspring. To be involved with single mothers, that goes against biology, and you have to have a special kind of spirit that will motivate you and drive you to do that. Some guys do, but most guys don't. So let's don't push these young guys into that situation. All right.
And you have people like Kevin Samuels who have made it their mission to tear
I guess I'm people like Kevin Samuels.
tear these women down and pretty much tell them you don't deserve a quality man.
Now, when did Kevin or any person well, let me speak for myself, and stuff that I've heard Kevin say. I ain't never heard Kevin say they don't deserve a man. What I heard him say is, it's not likely that you will get a man that's making a certain amount of money, because they typically are not interested in single mothers. Most men are not typically, but that category is even more. Those guys are even more not interested in being a step parent. That's the truth. But of course, when you're telling black women the truth, it's you got some type of issue, right? And now we got a problem because I'm telling you the truth. And they'll find a way to make it adversarial. Oh, you didn't tell me the way I wanted to hear it. You didn't say it the way I like it. You listen. I'd rather have a doctor say, "Hey, man, you got cancer. I don't care. Hey, this is what we need to do. Let's put you on a plan to knock it out." As opposed to a doctor comes to me and say, I ain't gonna tell you got cancer. Just go, you got cancer, but go home, lay down. It'll be better. It'll be better later. No, man, you want the truth. This is real life for these people, man. Anyway.
Because you had kids. When truth be told, a lot of these high value, quality men, whatever you want to call them. And ladies, I can include myself into this. You guys know I love to be transparent, so I'm going to get to my own personal story. But first, let me say this. A lot of men who have a lot of stuff to say about single mothers, in the first place, couldn't even help that single mother.
But that's not, so what? What? That's irrelevant to the, that's irrelevant. Whether you can help her or not is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. Is this person going to be a plus in your life or a minus in your life? That's all that matters. Who cares whether I can help her or not? I really shouldn't have to. She should be getting either child support or some other, she should be taking care of her own children. I shouldn't be having to come in and take care of her children. If I choose to do that, that's my choice.
What do I mean? I have men.
All right, let's continue.
Who are single mothers who buy their children nice clothing, take their children on vacations, make sure their children are doing well in school, have college plans ready for their children and money put to the side. And you have a lot of men who want to date these women, but they know good and well that if this woman came to you and said, "Hey, could you pay for this basketball camp?" you wouldn't have it. So what
does that got to do with anything, bro? We're talking about taking young guys, guys that are trying to accomplish stuff in their lives and putting them in a situation where they're be constantly distracted. Why would we do that? Why are we going to do that? And it's not even their children. That's what we're talking about. It has nothing to do with their character as a person or anything like that. It has something to do with the fact that you got to get yourself a reason for a living, lock onto it, put yourself together, create your, like you said, create your own situation. Who's got time to date single mothers that doesn't have their life established? Come on, man. It's irresponsible to send these young guys out here, tell them, "Oh yeah, you should be going out dating single mothers." Nobody who hasn't accomplished almost all of their goals in life should be dating single mothers. Period. I say, if I would put an age on it, 45 years old, maybe you can start looking around and saying, let me get this single mother a second look. Maybe. You under that age, you under 40, you shouldn't even be looking at single mothers, man. You don't have your life together. You're not established. You're not earning your top. You're not earning at your top rate. No. What are you doing? Anyway, you can tell this cat is talking from emotion and not from logic. Okay.
What you do is you go listen to Kevin Samuels and other men in the red pill community and you say, I'm not dating a single mother. When the truth is, you don't have your life together enough to deal with her.
Thank you.
And here's where I'm going to go into my own personal story. You guys know I'm very open, honest, and transparent about the fact that I spent a good deal of my life being an F-boy. There's one particular woman who I dealt with since I was about 22 years old. She didn't have kids when we first met. Over the course of our 20s, she had 3 kids.
Nice.
Now, because I was an F-boy, because I didn't always hold the masculine frame, a lot of times this woman wouldn't want to deal with me. I would get my life together a little bit better, and she would come back into my life to give me another opportunity. Finally, I sabotaged the relationship. Why did I sabotage the relationship? Because I knew good and well I could not help her with her 3 kids. Could I have sex with her? Could I provide a...
What are you doing in your 20s messing with a woman with 3 kids by somebody else? What are you doing? What are you doing? Just go out here to Long Beach and walk off the pier and just walk off the Queen Mary and just walk into the water. Drown yourself. If you're just going to just throw your life away, just walk off the pier. Why would you do that? Because you're right. You said you was raised by a single mom and you didn't know any better. You didn't know any better, but now we know better. Now you know better. Now there's people out here like Kevin and other people out here that's telling these young guys, don't do that. Don't do something like that. Do you even listen to what you're saying? You dating a woman in your 20s with 3 children by somebody else. Bro, that sounds crazy. That's like you on a spaceship trying to eat a hot dog through your helmet. That's just crazy. It don't even make no sense. There's no way you should be dating. Listen, you young guys. When I say young, I'm talking about anybody under 40 years old. If you're dating a woman with children by another man and you're not at least in your 40s, you are absolutely wasting a lot of your time. You are just burning your time up on this earth. You're burning your time up. Not that she's a bad person, not that the children are maybe nice, but you got goals in your life. You got things you want to do. You got to get up and get moving. You ain't got time to nurse a single mother and her children by some other dude. You ain't got time. Let her go back and be with the dude that made her those children. Maybe they'll get back together. Maybe that, like Kevin said, maybe that life, maybe they was have grown up and they will see the errors of their ways, whatever, and they're willing to, they'll be maybe able to patch it up if you get out of the way. Get out of the way. Because like he's saying, you stand in the way of a dude that really, maybe the real dad of those children, it got itself together now and says, hey man, I want to come back and make a life with you. You know what I mean? That's the person that should be trying to step in there and do that. You young guys, man, leave these single mothers alone. Leave them alone. Shouldn't even be looking at a single mother if you ain't in your 40s. Shouldn't even be looking at them. And then, even then, it's a small percentage of them that's worth turning over. And when I say worth it, I mean where you're going to get something out of it. See, we're human beings. We should get something out of what we're doing. You should get a benefit while you're living. You should get a benefit while you're living for doing stuff you're doing. You should get some benefit. What good is you doing something and you're not getting no benefit out of it? Other people are benefiting. That's called a sacrifice. Okay, you sacrificing yourself, but that's not what you should be doing as a young guy. An older guy, you've already accomplished some things. Yeah, maybe you got time to sacrifice and try to help some single moms out. Yeah, maybe. But you're a young guy, man. You haven't even went to another country. You haven't built your life up. You haven't, you're not making the top amount of money you're going to make in your life. What are you doing? Dating single mothers. What are you doing? Just go work on a plantation. Just go out there and work on a plantation then. If you want to be a slave, just go back and work on a plantation. Because essentially that's what you are. You're a slave. Your life is for someone else's benefit. Anyway, moving on. Oh, 14 minutes. Come on.
Some sort of income to help with the family unit, yes. But if I really was called on to step up and be the man that I'm supposed to be, I would have struggled in that. And I knew that. So before I got put in that position, I sabotaged the relationship. Was I right? No, I was dead wrong. But I've learned from my mistake. And I've learned that, Daniel, if you are going to go out and entertain a woman who has kids, please make sure you have your life together.
Thank you.
Because you could be getting in the way for someone else who may be a single father or another man who has his life together to
Facts.
step in and be the man she needs in
Facts.
her life. So
Facts.
ladies, if you are a single mother and you deal with men who leave you alone because dealing with your children is too much for them, more power to them, because they're really not man enough at this point in their life to handle the responsibility
Facts.
of dealing with a single mother.
Facts.
Yes, you do have to step up to the plate more, because you have to worry about this woman's emotions. You have to worry about this child's emotions.
Facts.
You have to worry about this woman's financial health.
Facts.
You have to worry about this
And
child.
that is typically single mothers are typically bottomless pits financially.
Child's financial health.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to it.
You have to worry about this woman's spiritual health. You have to worry about this child's spiritual health.
Well, let me get back to the financial. The financial situation. That is a very bad one, man. Because what happens is there a lot of times most single women, at least in the black community, single moms, most of the time they're in real bad financial shape. The guy who's gave them the babies is not paying child support. They got other situations going on, man, and they just are in financial. They're, like I always say, pariahs, because the family is typically chipping in to help, and they're looking at the guy like, hey, you're the one getting the cookies. You need to step in here and start covering some of these costs. You know what I mean? And which is natural. Family's gonna be like, hey, why are we paying because she's like a leech. She's like a anchor around everybody's neck, the family's neck, right? They have to come and contribute, and so they're like, well, you getting the cookies, why ain't you contributing? And that is true. You should be if you are getting the cookies, but that's why I say don't get the cookie, because you're not ready to do all that. That's too much for most of you young guys. It's just too much, and your life is not together. You're going to be spinning your wheels, messing with single moms. You're just spinning your wheels, and you're going to have to put so much. You have to, like he said, man, look at all the stuff he said. You got to put money into them. You got to put time into them. You got to put your spirit into them. You got to inspire them. You got to uplift them. You got to do all that for yourself first. How you going to do this for somebody else and you haven't even done it for yourself? That's why I say it's irresponsible to send young guys out there after single moms, man, because they need to get their own lives together.
Even physical and even mental for both of them. When you're dealing with just a woman who doesn't have kids, it is a lot easier. So it is
1,000 times
more
easier
required from you when you're dealing with a single mother.
And they're gonna have
Most
games
of the
to
single
play.
mothers I know don't really need your help to take care of the kids. What you do is you let your insecurity.
I don't know what single moms you're talking about, but the average single mom, man, they are really in financial trouble. A lot of them. The average single mom. Yeah, maybe you know some that are lawyers and doctors and stuff like that, but the average single mom, they are in real financial trouble.
Into a horrible, irresponsible person because she had children out of wedlock.
Nobody's saying she's horrible. Nobody says she's horrible. She's just not desirable. Those are two different things. Those are two different things. See, but you got to use logic. Nobody's saying just because you're not desired, you're a horrible person. You're not desired because of your circumstances. You dig what I'm saying? You're not going to be desirable because of your circumstances. There's right now, there's a basketball player from Puerto Rico with one arm. This kid is phenomenal, but I don't think he's going to get into the NBA because he's got one arm. And he's a good basketball player, but he does not, because of his circumstances, he's not going to be desired by an NBA team. That's just the way it is. He's a good kid. Seems like a good kid. I don't know the kid, but he seems like a good kid. He's going to school out there in Florida so he can try to get into a D1 school or whatever. Cool. The guy is really good. I mean, he really is sad the way he makes people with two arms look, and he only got one arm. But what difference is that going to make? The NBA is not looking for cats with one arm because you had a huge disadvantage around the other guys. that's just not going to be desirable. They're not saying the kid's a bad kid. He's just not desirable. Okay, we as men are not saying you a bad person because you got children. You made the mistake of getting with somebody and trying to make a life with somebody who was an absolute idiot. Yeah, you should have seen that, but hey, we all been young. So you did that. Okay, fine. But now I'm not a bad person because I said that's not desirable for me. That's not desirable for me in my life. Why am I a bad person for that? Anyway.
Who helped her create those kids out of wedlock? Not you, but some other man.
That's irrelevant. What difference does that make? I'm not the one that needs to be involved with it.
Know men who have children who don't want to date a woman who has children. It does not make sense to me.
It doesn't matter. There's women out there that don't want to date a man that have children that don't want to date a man with children. So what? Everybody has their preference. However crazy it is, they have their own preference. They have their own preference. But men logically shouldn't be dating. Men should logically not be dating women with children. Not unless they're at a certain age and a certain financial status that they have the time now they have that open time to at least consider it. I'm not even saying you should do it then. I ain't saying you should do it. I'm just saying it could be open for consideration. It could be up for consideration. But you haven't accomplished all of your financial goals. You haven't accomplished all of your life goals, spiritual goals. What are you doing? There's nobody in their 20s that should be dating a single mother. Nobody. Period. Bar none. Period. 30s too. There's no way you should be dating a single mother. No. And if you really want to just be a slave, go work on a plantation. Why would you want to go and give your life to somebody and not get nothing for it or put yourself in a bad situation? That's not a young guys, and I'm talking about young under the age of 40. You guys do not need to be even thinking about single mothers. You guys really shouldn't even be looking at dating until you got your life together. Maybe an occasional date here and there, but like dating all week, most women are a colossal waste of time. You really gonna be dating 3 or 4 times a week? Look at all the money you're gonna be dropping, all the time you're gonna be wasting. Really, it's not even the money; it's the time you're going to be putting into all of this stuff to try to set up a sexual encounter. When you could get your life together, you get your money right, and you get your life right. The sexual encounters will find you. Anyway, I'm talking way past a lot of you guys.
Now I want to switch lanes here a little bit, and I specifically want to encourage women who have children right now. What you're looking at is the product of a single mother. When I was born, really before I was born, my mother already had dreams for me. When my mother was pregnant, she only worked at the equivalent of a Target or a Walmart. She worked at a store called Woody's, which is not around anymore, and she used to have to ride the bus.
Ouch.
My mother used to ride past St. John's College High School in Washington, D.C., and she daydreamed about being able to put her son in this school. My mother used to watch A Different World. I used to watch it with her when I was a little boy. She used to watch School Days. I watched it as well, and she dreamed of her son going to Morehouse. This was before I had any hopes and dreams for my own life, before I was old enough. But this was my mother's dream.
Okay.
And she worked towards that dream. My mom wanted to be a fashion designer. But when she had a kid, it was the 80s, computers were starting to take off. She decided, well, let me go ahead into this computer world, this new world. Right. Looks like that's going to be a good industry. And she was able to get a great job. Keep in mind, my mom did not graduate from college.
Right.
And she retired making $100,000 a year.
Good
Ladies,
for her.
you do not have to go to college to do the best job you can do raising your kids. I'm a product of it. My mother didn't graduate college until she was about 62 years old. If you go to my Facebook Instagram page, you will see a picture of my mother graduating from college about 5 years after I graduated from
Beautiful
college.
story.
But here's the thing. She had a dream of her son going to St. John's College High School. And wouldn't you have it, her son grew to be 6'4" and athletic, which allowed him to get an athletic scholarship to go to St. John's. What I'm trying to tell you is the dreams you have for your children are real. God gave them to you, and they can come to pass if you believe and if you keep pushing forward, and I know you are. I know that's why you're watching this. The second part, Morehouse College. Eventually, I went to Morehouse College. I did have a stumbling period, but I graduated in 2012.
Right on.
My
Good
mother
for you,
put
man.
blood, sweat, and tears into my childhood. And a lot of times, she chose not to date. It's not that men weren't trying to gain her attention, but she thought it was more important to put time and effort into her son.
Good.
Now she
Good.
has a son who's a college graduate,
Good.
who can go get a job in various fields, had a
Good.
career in case management. I
Good.
can go into teaching.
Good.
I write well enough to write my own scripts. I've written some. You know why this is? Because my mother put time in with me. Because I can still remember being a little
Good.
boy and my mother sitting up making me read books
Teach.
before I went to bed. And not only making me
Teach.
read it, but make me explain what the book was talking
Teach.
about. The reason I can
Yep.
write, the reason I can speak well today, the reason I am everything I am today is not because of the goodness of Daniel. It's because I had a single mother who never gave up on me.
Right
and
on.
here is where the praise report comes, ladies. My mom is married now,
Right
and
on.
she's happy. She's married to a man her age. My mom just turned 66 on Sunday. It was her birthday while she was sick. But she's raised a son and she's married. Why do I say all that to you?
Yeah.
Because some of you have 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old kids right now. And you're wondering if you're going to be able to find a man. You're wondering if on your own, are you going to be able to make ends meet? And I'm here to tell you, as an example of someone who never went hungry, of someone who always had clothes on his back, of someone who always had a place to live, you can get it done. I don't care how it feels today.
Okay.
This is an example that a single mother can raise a child.
I don't think any of us I don't think that was the issue, whether a single mother can raise a child or not. But you're talking to the women now. Okay, let me back off. It's a good story, and glad it worked out. But that is not the average situation. If you look at the aggregate, it is not the average situation. Okay.
And on top of that, you deserve a great man. Now, you may have to date differently than single women. In my next video, I'll talk specifically about the type of men a single woman should look for. You don't necessarily have to go just be with a single dad. There are men out here, me included, that have no problem dating a single mother. In fact, I have high respect for a woman when I see her children and they're well behaved, got good manners, well spoken. That tells me something about this woman. It tells me that there's some substance in this woman. Because in order for there to be substance in the child, there first had to be substance in the woman.
Makes sense.
You may have made a mistake.
Makes
You may have had sex with the wrong person. Do not beat yourself up for that. Your child is a blessing. And let me tell you how much of a blessing your child is. Yes, my mom is married. But because my mom put so much time into me growing up, I am now in a position to help take care of her financially, but also when she's sick. I can take off work and I can come be there at my mother's bedside for her. And it's a direct result of the time she put into me. So I do want to leave that one message there. Ladies, put time into your kids. I'm not saying you don't, but just make sure you continue to do that, because these are the people who will take care of you when you get older. A man could come into your life and be gone in a couple years. Your children are always going to be there. And when you're sitting at Spelman, when you're sitting at Morehouse, when you're sitting at Harvard, Stanford, University of Maryland, PG Community College, it really won't matter. And you get to see your child that you had to struggle with walk across that stage. It'll feel better than any man being a part of your life, because you did that. And you should clap for yourself. So I'm not saying don't listen to Kevin Samuels, and I tagged some other men.
Oh, wait a minute. So now you're not saying don't listen to Kevin. Okay. Because I thought this whole thing was about don't listen to Kevin. Okay.
as well who have things to say about single mothers. I'm not here to bash them. I'm just here to give a different perspective. There are a lot of men out here who would have no problem dating a single mother who does a great job taking care of their children. I have dated several, but because I was an F-boy, I stepped away from them because I knew at that time in my life I was not ready for that type of
Of
responsibility.
course. That's why we're telling these young guys don't do that. They're too young to be walking into stepfatherhood. Come on, man. You got a nice little story and all of that. But see, the problem is, man, you're doing like most women, man. You're taking one exception and trying to say that one exception should be the whole situation. It's not the whole situation. That's an exception. What you got going on is an exception. It's an exception. Most of these young guys are not ready to step into that role.
The big difference between that and between men making you feel bad because they don't measure up. If anyone's watched this and
It's not men. Well, I don't see it as men making you feel bad. I think men are just feel like, why are you? See, you're not looking at the biological situation of it. Another man in any other type of animal would say, what? Yeah, biologically, any other man would feel disrespected by you bringing some other children into his world from another man. He's going to first think, this is just biology. It's not, it's just they're going to think, why are you bringing me another man's children? That's what, especially alpha men, they're going to think, why are you bringing me? They're going to consider that disrespect. And it's biological. You're going to say, oh, well, you shouldn't think that way. It doesn't matter what you should think. It's biological response to that situation. Anyway.
they can think of a single mother who needs encouragement, please send it to them. Please subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, my content mainly focuses on living well. First, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially, in that specific order. I believe the spirit is the most important thing for us to get right. And I believe at the end of the spectrum, financial. If you don't get those things right in the right order, you will experience trauma in your life. And I will make another video talking about that. Finally, don't forget to like and leave me a comment and let me know.
Okay. We basically got the idea. Okay, so the brother, good brother, but he has some, his thing is, so he kind of was all over the road. Okay, first he said, Kevin is tearing single mothers down. Then he didn't ever substantiate that claim. Then he said, we're in the red pill community. They're telling men not to get with single mothers, and but he didn't qualify it by saying that's a bad deal for most men. It's two reasons why. Number one, it's a bad deal for most men, meaning that you're not going to get anything out of it. You a lot of times not going to get out anything, no benefit out of it. And number two, and when I say you're not going to get a benefit out of it, you're going to be putting money into a situation, because most single moms are financial bottomless pits. You're going to have to keep their money pits. You're going to have to keep throwing money at, and not even for you. And you're not going to get no benefit out of that. And number two, most guys are just not mature enough before the age of 40 to even get involved with single mothers. You're not even set up to be in a monogamous situation. You said yourself you was an F-boy. You're not even you don't even know how to be in a monogamous relationship, let alone being a biological parent, let alone being a step parent. That's too much stacking on a young guy. Young guys, man. This is a good brother, man, but he was all over the road. I feel like this. He had a nice story. He had a good story. Man, hope his mom's health improves or whatever, and it gets better, and she's able to live her life or whatever. I'm glad she's married and she's got somebody because that's what you want. At the end of the line, you want to have your medicine and her medicine together on that same shelf, and you guys can give each other's medicine. That's what it's all about at the end of the road, bro, if you're lucky enough to get there. But This brother right here, man, got a good story, but don't go for the okie doke thinking, man, this is, that's a good thing. No, it's not a good thing. You guys stop getting out here making these single mothers. Zip your pants up, man. Don't stop sleeping with these single mothers and then dropping babies on them and leaving them alone. Stop it. Then that will stop that situation, and then we can start building this thing all over again. Anyway, that's my take on the story. What do you think? Am I right? Is he right? Is this guy right? You know what I mean? Is he's saying, hey, single moms, don't be discouraged, and I agree. Don't get discouraged. We ain't saying you a bad person and you just evil person for being a single mother. We can't slam you for making a mistake. But what we can do is say that disqualifies you from a certain type of guy shouldn't be getting involved with you. You're disqualified from that. That's just the way it is. It's like I was talking about the one-arm basketball player. Yeah, you good, but nobody in the NBA is going to be trying to pick you up because you're going to disqualify yourself from only having one arm, and that's the circumstances that's disqualifying you, not your personal. That's not your your person. It's your circumstances that's just going to disqualify you. Your circumstances as a single mother, that's what's disqualifying you. It's not that you're a bad person or you this hideous person. It's that you got the circumstances that are unfair to the average guy. Anyway, tell me what y'all think. Is this brother right? Am I crazy? Is Kevin crazy? Kevin against the single moms. Kevin got a campaign against the single moms to shut them down and just make their life horrible, right? Taking the simps out of the equation. Anyway, this guy saying, hey, jump back in the equation. I say no. If you're not over the age of 40 years old, there's no way you should be dealing with no single mother. And I'm not saying you got to deal with them. I'm just saying you shouldn't even consider it until you're at least 40, if you're going to consider it. All right, tell me what y'all think. Peace. Oh, never be the aggressor. Never be the aggressor.